Okay, so we're going to spot drill it first. We're just going to etch. So that's the 1/2 inch hole for the clamp. Okay. Alright, so here's where we are. I had a little trouble with the camera. All of a sudden I got an error message that said movie recording disabled. And of course you don't have any idea what that is unless you go find the manual for the camera. Turns out my hard drive was too full. So anyway, alright, here are the pieces. I've ground the sides, took off the spot welds, took out the piece of metal, and you can see that, you know, the 1/2 inch hole is smaller than a 1/2 inch, which is good because I wanted that clearance for clamping. So now this sits in there fine. The bottom jaw is perfectly flat. So I got that dimension right. And that's the top piece. And we've got, because of that piece of sheet metal, we've got a, can you see it? Got a 1/16 of an inch of clamping pressure when I finally make the clamping screw. So that's all cool. Runs fine. This, I just took it to the belt sander and put a radius on there so that you could rotate it without it interfering with the screw. So we're using the DC drive instead of the quick change gearbox. You can check out my videos on the DC drive if you have a mind to. Just starting it on with the chuck. Make sure it goes in straight. You know. And we'll come back here and cut it off. Alright, so the last thing I have to make is the nut that goes on the bottom to hold the clamp. So I'm going to make that from a Slug that comes from a hole saw. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Whenever I use a hole saw cutting through something substantial, like a 1/4 inch or 3/8 of an inch, or even, you know, here's a 3/8 of an inch little one. Could make a T-nut out of that. But I keep them because they come in handy. You can make heavy washers out of them, or in this case I'm going to take this one, turn it down. I'm going to drill it out for 3/8 16. I'm going to turn it down so it fits underneath inside the ribs of my drill press table, and then I'm going to put a weld bead so it can't spin, and that's going to be my nut. So the clamp is finished. Works pretty well. Works great. So there's the screw, and for the nut I used a hole saw Slug. Drilled and tapped it, put a bead of weld on it so it doesn't turn underneath in the slot. Good? And it works if you put it into the vertical. Come on. Okay. Okay, well, thanks to a couple of YouTubers, I found out what it is. I made the clamp, and we're finished with this.